Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Divine Anu, but you can call me Divine. Yay! Before we get into the video, please remember to subscribe and follow me on my Instagram, which is always going to be at the bottom left of all of my videos. And if you want to book a photo shoot and you're located in New York, if you come from my YouTube channel, I will offer you a 10% discount just for watching my videos. If you'd like a 10% discount, please DM me on Instagram after you follow with the word magical and you get a 10% discount on your next photo shoot. But enough of that. Let's get into the video. Today is going to be a little bit different. Last Saturday, I did a story time about my old friend Bianca. Today, I have absolutely no other plans, and it's going to be me telling you a very emotional and traumatic story live. And while I do that, I am actually crocheting a dress. I am literally just trying to keep myself in a high-spirited energy, so what I decided to do was crochet at the same time. Let me just show y'all. But y'all can see, like, it's already coming along. I know in the last video I said I was going to use real names, but I think from now on I'm going to use fictitious names. I hate being the person who's gossiping. It's just not for me, because I've always been at the end of it, and I always, if I have a problem with you, I will say it to you directly. If I am talking about you, it's because I'm talking about my experience, which everyone is allowed to do. Yes, everything I say here will be my truth, my side, and my story, and that's it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let me just get started. You know. This story is about my first kiss. And I know what you're saying, Divine, you said you're talking about a traumatic and emotional experience? Why are you talking about your first kiss? Because it was the most traumatic and emotional experience I've ever went through. This all started in 6th grade. After the situation with Bianca, if you tuned in to last week's story, I did have little instances throughout the year from 5th grade to 6th grade as sort of an aftermath of the whole rumor thing of the 5th grade summer. Like, for example, I remember I was eating lunch with my friends, and this dude, let's call him I, he walks up to the table and he asks me out, and I reply no. And in response, he goes to say, when I rejected him, I will give you a pack of sunflower seeds if you go out with me. People at that time really thought I was some type of prostitute. I met, and we're gonna call this boy, we're gonna call him Joe, okay? I met Joe in my advanced math class. And I say advanced because they had different levels for each kind of class. So I was in the class that was ahead of the curriculum. We never did any advanced courses. It was just I was a few lesson plans ahead than the rest of the grade. So all of my friends were in the regular classes, and I was the only one out of my friend group that attended the advanced classes. So I didn't have anybody to talk to in that math class. As the semester went on, I befriended Joe. Joe was my math class partner. He sat next to me. In class, we'd be playing tic-tac-toe, passing each other friendly notes. Like, it was a good vibe. We were both smart. We both had lots to talk about. I was a tomboy back then, so, you know, it was not no flirting. It was me talking about how good I am at kickball, like really trying to uphold the tomboy energy. One day, I remember having such a good day until this happened. And as usual, he passes me a note. I'm thinking it's like another tic-tac-toe game, because let me tell you, I was kicking this motherfucker's ass at tic-tac-toe. So I'm like, oh, here we go again. He's ready to lose, you know, in a jokingly kind of friend way. I open the note, and oh my God, the note says, "Do you like me? Check yes or no." was so annoyed because the one time I was like, oh my gosh, I made a classroom friend. That's a guy that doesn't talk to me disrespectfully. He's pretty cool. He ends up having a crush on me. I digress. Quick point to make. Guys and girls, in my opinion, can never ever be friends. Of course, there are some good men out there who understand boundaries, who understand actual friendship, but I have never had a friendship with a guy that did end because I did not want to either have sex with them or date them. So the only reason why a friendship between a guy and a girl won't work is because of the guy. 100% in my opinion. 100%. Guys in that situation feel like they're obligated to some type of relationship or sexual favor because they've dedicated time listening to you. They've been a shoulder to cry on, and they feel like, okay, enough's enough. I need my payment now. Like, it's a job to do that. But anyway, I digress. Once I get the note, I check no. And then I wrote a note, something along the lines of, I like being your friend. I like you as a friend. Something like that. I didn't want to hurt his feelings or lose somebody who I had fun with in math class. You know, it was very hard for me to make friends because people already had their mind made up about me. When I sent the note back to Joe, he loses his mind. He gets so upset to the point where he grabs his desk from both sides and moves it over a few inches so there's a huge uncomfortable gap in between us, and then puts his head down and does his work. We even had a project that day, and in my class there was an odd number, so the person who didn't have like a desk partner would work alone. But because I said no on the piece of paper, my partner got up and decided to work with the person that didn't have a desk partner. So I ended up doing that project alone. So I was kind of annoyed, I was kind of sad. That ruined my entire day because I thought we were cool. But anyway, I had his number because we were, you know, friends at the time. So I reached out to him when I got home, you know, as a people pleaser would. I was very much a people pleaser back in middle school. I reached out to him via text after the day ends. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but you know what, I'll date you. I'll go out with you. I'll give it a try. You know, kind of basically giving the impression that I really don't see you that way, but in order to keep our friendship good, I'm gonna give it a try. He agrees over text, and as I was texting him when I said I agreed to go out, he had mentioned that he had a huge crush on me and that he wanted to make out with me or kiss me. Like, he was dying to kiss me, he really liked me, this and that and the third. So I was just like, again, people pleasing. I did not want to kiss this man. Let me tell y'all why I was not attracted to him. I'm sorry, I keep digressing. I know I'm gonna sound like Chandler Bing, but the only reason I was just not interested was the fact he never fucking flossed his teeth, to the point where he had plaque buildup all over the edges of his teeth, all over. Like, his teeth, like his breath never smelled. He had braces, his teeth were straight. He just never flossed, never used a water pick, nothing. Like, it was bad, to the point where the top of his gums were turning green and the bottom of his teeth started to like ruffle at the end. Like, it was like he was Shark Boy. It was extremely unattractive. So when we're playing tic-tac-toe and he's like smiling at me because I won, that's all I'm seeing is your plaque. I tell him, you know what, okay, sure, we can do it after school. We can meet up together after math class and go somewhere private together. But it's my first kiss, I never did it before, I'm a little nervous, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, the next day comes, and we're in math class together. It's same as usual. We're playing tic-tac-toe, writing friendly notes back and forth, except this time, you know, a little elbow graze, a little slide of the hand touch, you know, middle school shit, middle school romance. You know how middle schoolers, they like, we always used to be like, oh my god, when our hands, you know, we're walking too close and the heat of our hands is like right there. Yeah, that bull, that stuff. So that was the energy of like between us during math class. I still did not find him attractive, nor was I interested in dating him, just for the sole reason of his teeth. But you know what? I had to take one for the team because he was my friend. So after math class, he was like, oh, I know of a spot that we can go to that's private. I was like, oh, okay, sure. So he takes me to this first floor. So we're at this place. It took me a while to muster up the courage to even put my lips on that man. I was talking to him, I was like, I'm a little nervous, I've never kissed anybody before. And then he opened his mouth and he was like, no, it's okay. Sorry. I almost threw up. Because when I tell you that plaque was real, that plaque was real. So I did the little like closed lip thing, and he was like, no, don't worry, just relax. I'm gonna show you how to do it. So I relaxed my lips. At first I was like, and then I relaxed my lips, so that now I was just regular. He leans in, we kiss for like 2-3 seconds, you know, like a quick, you know, that's it. It wasn't anything raunchy, it was just a quick thing. We got it over with, and he was like, how was that? I was like, it was good. You know, like trying to contain the disgust that I had. After that, he like takes me by the hand and he drags me out of there to the front lobby and out the door. It's still crowded, so I can understand why he was trying to maneuver and still kind of keep me at a distance. But once we go outside, he doesn't walk me anywhere. We stop in front. I think his parents were picking him up, so I walked to the bus and he like left. So we were like, bye. I was like, I'll text you later. So later comes around 6 just. I remember the time because something happened later on was just flabbergasting. I get home. I had at the time a little fake BlackBerry that flipped up. It had the internet on it. I would be watching Disney Channel. It was a cute little BlackBerry, but it was an Android at best. So it was like a little rinky-dink phone that my mom gave me. This is important for later. So anyway, we're texting back and forth. He's asking me about the kiss. You know, we're talking, you know, romantic, like how boyfriend and girlfriends talked in middle school is exactly how we were talking. Very kind of awkward and weird, cute, whatever. And he told me he wanted to kiss me again and this and that and the third. But anyway, later on that night, he texted me at like 9-10 o'clock and he literally just said, I want to break up. And I was just like, I texted him back. I was like, oh, okay, I'll see you in class. I was like, in my head, I was like, yes, oh, thank God, because I didn't know if I could go through another kiss. It didn't bother me that we broke up, not even a little bit, because I didn't like him, like I said. So, however, it was wrong for me to go out with somebody I didn't like, but that's neither here nor there. I was a child. But anyway, the next day, I went to school having a good time, listening to Hercules, catwalking my way up the stairs to my school, right? I get into the lobby, still listening to that Hercules soundtrack, and for some reason the ambiance, the bustling noises just stops. And I look around and everybody is either already staring at me or like kind of like, you know, looking but not really wanting to stare. So I'm just like, okay. And then somebody shouts at me, hey look, it's 8 hours, it's 8 hours. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? As I'm walking up the stairs, you know, the school had 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, so there was mad people in that lobby, and it felt like everybody was screaming that at me. The 5th graders dispersed into the 1st floor. I'm going to the 2nd floor as a 6th grader, and as I'm following everybody up, mind you, it's crowded. Everybody is chanting 8 hours, 8 hours, like making it into a like a beat, really getting into me. And so I get to my homeroom. I asked my best friend, because she seemed to always know what the gossip was about. Like, everybody liked my best friend. I feel like that's always the case when I have friends. Everybody loves my best friend but hates me. She was like, oh yeah, I actually heard that Joe told people that you guys slept together in the stairwell. You guys dated, slept together in the stairwell, and broke up in 8 hours. When I tell you, I was livid. This situation is actually one of the situations that I wish I could change, and it's the one of the situations in my life that I regret wholeheartedly. I don't know what was going through this young man's mind. He must have lost it to tell people that we slept together in the stairwell. I would be fine if he said, oh, we kissed or whatever. No, he told people that he asked me out. I said yes immediately. We went to the stairwell at the end of school, had sex, and then he broke up with me later that day. That's what the story he was telling everybody. The worst part about this entire thing is that no one believed what I fucking said. No one believed it. The next day, again, people were chanting that in the hallway. Mind you, let's put the story on pause for a second, because this is where it really gets depressing. Before I went into this middle school, my brother and I went to the same elementary school. His friends were kind of my acquaintances. You know, his friends came over all the time. We went to Build-A-Bear workshop, had a blast. And coincidentally, one of my brother's friend group friends, we'll call him Shu, and Shu actually attended my middle school, and we were in the same grade. Just my brother, he went to a more advanced middle school because he was a lot, you know, he was gifted back then. What was crazy about this was that no matter how much this friend knew me, he's been in my house. He's seen how I've been raised. Shu was one of the main people shouting 8 hours, 8 hours, especially the second day. That was something that also made it worse, because I felt like no matter who they were, it was just piling and piling on. After he told everybody that, my middle school experience was one of the worst parts of my life that I could ever think of. Like, the way people treated me, how people spoke to me, how people saw me, it really does something to a kid. It really does. And I never understood why I had to go through all of that. I was on principal's list, honor roll, whatever you want to call it, and sometimes after school we have like a little party to congratulate a good grade quarter. So I was just coming out of the school with 2 people. I came out with 2 siblings who didn't live too far from me, and like they agreed to like walk with me because we took the same bus. It was a girl twin and a guy twin. So we're all walking to the bus. One of the bullies, one of the guys in that big hoodlum group, who was like a bunch of hood niggas, who wore those Jordans, baggy pants, sagged their pants, the whole nine. One of them ran up and was like, hey, boy twin, I need to talk to you real quick. He comes up and has like a one-on-one conversation, and me and the girl twin, we're just quiet in the back, just listening, just waiting for it to be finished so we can leave. So I'm especially being quiet because this particular person, we can call him Teddy. We can call him Teddy. I'm just like picking out names in my room. Teddy was one of the most rudest and meanest guys out of the group. I remember just staring, like I was just looking at him, kind of waiting. And this is my resting face, like this, waiting for him to finish. And sometimes my resting bitch face looks mean to the point where people think I'm thinking something else. I was just waiting for him to go. I desperately didn't want him to say anything to me. I was staring at him, and I guess he felt intimidated that I was staring at him. He snaps. He's like, what are you looking at? 8 hours, 8 hours. Get the fuck out of my face. In the middle of the street, top of his lungs. What did I even do to deserve that? I never even had a conversation with Teddy. And I just remember walking by myself to the bus. I was so upset. I remember sitting on the bus was fairly empty. I was in the back, like in the center, bawling my eyes out all the way home, talking to myself like, what did I do? What did I do? Why do people hate me? Like, I really wanted to do things to myself at the time. Like, no matter how nice I was, no matter how much I felt like I proved people wrong, even people that were my friends, that I thought were my friends, didn't believe me. The next day, I'm not crying anymore. The next day, I'm in science class and talking to my friend. Let's call her Jean. My other friend was my best friend at the time, so we're just gonna call her best friend. So we're all sitting at the science class. You know, my cousin teacher was at the front. We were all doing classwork, and my friend Jean, she's telling me like, oh, I had a conversation with Joe, and I was asking him why he was talking about you and what you did, and he was saying that he had screenshots of you telling him that you wanted to have sex and everything, that you wanted to do terrible, nasty things and stuff, that you were the one who initiated this stuff and that stuff. And I was just like, that's not true. And she was like, oh well, he had screenshots and then your name was at the top and the messages were green. If you don't know what that means, I had a hoopty-doopty phone at the time. Everybody at the time had the iPhone 3, iPhone 4, whatever the fuck. So almost everybody's messages were blue. And I didn't know what the fuck. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do? Green, blue, yellow? Like, I didn't have any idea what that meant at the time. Text now and those fake numbers were a thing back then. And that's what my friend never took into consideration. And I was like, you know, he could have faked those messages. He was like, yeah, but your name was at the top. I was like, did you see the number? He didn't show, he just showed me the name and the messages, and it seemed like that's how you text. She believed somebody she barely fucking talked to over her friend. And I was trying to explain to her I never slept with him, I never did anything, screaming myself hoarse, and she never believed me. Now I know what you're gonna say, hey Divine, why didn't you just show her the messages on your phone? I have reasons for that. One, it was during science class, and that science teacher who was my cousin definitely would have took my phone. Two, because I never ever kept those messages saved on my phone because my mom would check my phone. And her seeing me text the guy saying planning to kiss, she would have beat my fucking ass. She would have smacked me into next week. So I deleted those messages. And third, me showing her didn't even cross my mind because he's right, you're wrong. He has evidence, you don't. After a while, I kind of just let people talk about me. There was nothing I could do. I felt like there was nothing I could do. I didn't want to be a snitch, so I spent a lot of time crying in the bathroom at school. I was doing well in school, so I didn't want to jeopardize the grades that I had, but it was hard. It felt like every day people were just jab, 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 you know? Like, the end of the year comes, and at the end of every year of the school, we actually had like an end of the year school trip where you can only go if you have certain GPA and a signed permission slip. So of course, Joe was all set to go. And don't worry y'all, this is how I got my lick back, because he deserved everything that came to him. This was like, I want to say a couple of days before the trip was ended. Me and like a couple of my friends, we were making jokes, we were getting our continental breakfast, and we were like making up alternative voices, like we were talking to each other like grown white men, like, hello, my name is, I don't know how to do it anymore. It was really good back then, but it's not good now. Before we sit down, I see Joe look at me, whisper to his friend, and then start laughing and smirking. And when I tell you, I was looking at him with daggers. I was like, mad as fuck. I'm like, what is this nigga laughing about? Why is he still talking about me? My friend was like, all right, don't, just let it be, just let it be, just let it be. I was like, okay. Because remember, at the time, I was getting bullied constantly. I was always sticking up for myself. So I ended up in a lot of fights and verbal fights because people would not leave me alone. I even got into fights with faculty members. That's how angry I was. The entire 6th grade. This This boy, as we're walking away, he laughs again, and I was just like, I can't. So I put my tray down, I grab my apple, hold it behind my back, I walk up to the table, and I go, is there something funny? Because you seem to have a lot to say. You seem to have a lot to say about me, but you can't say it to my face. Like, you seem to love having my name in your mouth, so I'd like to know what it is. You love me so much, right? So tell me, what are you talking about? What's so funny? I want to know the joke. And this man started to smirk at me. He was like I was some crazy ex-girlfriend trying to make some drama. No. I was like, oh, there's another joke? Oh, I have a joke for you. This is how, I'm gonna tell you how close I was to this man. This is a good, yeah, right here. He was sitting at like across the table and I was standing in a walkway. It was like a dining area, like continental breakfast thing. So he was like at a booth and sitting in the center of the booth. He thought he was hot shit. He got mad clout. So I'm like, oh, I got a joke for you. So I took my apple and flung it with full arm force right at his eyeball. I'm a good shot. I'm a good shot. I aimed right for his fucking eye with a hard apple. And I was like, that's something you should laugh about. You think that shit is funny? You think lying about me is funny? Now look, now you got a black eye. Now that shit is funny. And then what I also did before my mom found out, I told on myself, but honestly, everybody was talking about it. It would have gotten to the teachers anyway. I only told on myself to get into less trouble with the teachers and my mom. As punishment, my teacher who was chaperoning forced me and Joe to be partners for the rest of the trip. Although it didn't make up for the bullying that I went through the entire year and into 7th and 8th grade and into freshman year, but it was really nice to see that he had a black eye for the rest of the trip. And when we went back to school for like a reflection half day, he still had a black eye and it was getting all blue, and it was fun. It was real fun to watch him keep his mouth shut because he knew the next time he spoke, I would have got that other eye. And I told him that. I said, say my name in your mouth again and I'll get the other eye. And I didn't hear anything from him ever again. He didn't smirk in my direction anymore. He kind of averted his gaze. That was pretty nice. Quick lesson. People pleasing sucks. And I didn't even realize this until mid-college. I found it so hard to say no because I desperately, especially in middle school and high school, wanted people to like me for me. And I felt the only way to do that was just to be a yes man and agree with everything. I've never made or had a good instinct when it came to making good, genuine friends. To this day, people want so badly to be cool. People want so badly to be seen and heard that they don't care who they hurt along the way. And I think that was the case with my friend Jean as well. She was dark skinned. People would get on her for her skin tone, and so she did a lot of things to appeal to like the cool crew. And the last thing I learned was to stay true to myself. Even though I spent a lot of times crying in bathrooms, on the bus, in my room, I never ever let them see me like that. If I cried, I did that shit in the bathroom. Held myself together, built up a nice hard shell. Like, people wanted to fuck with me and say something to my face, I was ready. Like, now I'm more lazy and I'm just like, you really want to fight? You know, like, really, my back. And lastly, a message to you guys. Never let anybody else tell you who you are. Because of this stuff in middle school that happened, I spent a lot of time thinking that these rumors were true. Even though I never ever did anything with that guy, I didn't even lose my virginity until high school. Even so, I fully believed that I was a hoe. The value that I had in myself dwindled so badly that it hindered me from, really going after what I wanted. There were people I wanted to be involved with. I had a major crush on this guy who was in my friend group. I don't want to give too many details because that was like in the past, but he had a crush on me, and I secretly liked him too. But I never did that, one, because everybody thought I was a fucking hoe, and I didn't want his reputation to get ruined or me to go through the same thing you know, Joe part 2. So I never said anything. On top of that, even though she had a boyfriend, my best friend liked him at the same time. So I steered clear away from him. A part of me wishes that back then I did what was best for me. I went after who I liked and didn't care about who was gonna say anything. At the end of the day, people are gonna think what they want, and it's up to you to show them otherwise. And what sucks about this is that my old middle school crush is cute now. I fumbled the bag. Me trying to be a good friend, and also not only to my best friend but to him, and me trying to avoid another Joe part 2, being scared to even say anything. I liked him from 7th grade to 9th grade, and I never pursued him. Like, we had back and forths, we did you know, make out a little bit freshman year, but it never ever amounted to anything. I didn't want people to think negatively of me, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Remember to love yourself, care about yourself, and be honest with who you are, and just be yourself, because I don't even remember some details of the situation. It happened, it made me stronger, it made me who I am. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope you learned lots of lessons. I hope you related to the story. If you also had bullying experiences in your middle school time, or if you're going through it, you are not alone. And guess what? These people ain't. Keep your chin up and fuck everybody else. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful Saturday night, and I'll see you guys next Saturday.